Hello everybody, Tyron the God 3 here. So, you're playing a Pokemon game, and you want to strive to become the best, but what inspires you to become the very best? Well, for some, it's taking down various gym leaders and trainers. Some, it's taking down the Elite Four and the champion himself. For others, it's, battling off against various competitive trainers on Wi-Fi. But there's another person that strives you in order to become the very best you can be, and they're in the game. These trainers basically take the same journey that you take parallel. They're known as rivals. Why am I bringing up the description of rivals? Well, because I want to talk about some of my most favorite rivals in the entire Pokemon game. These rivals are rivals that have various story arcs and parallel things that like you in order to make them become very three-dimensional, identifiable, and make you want to become the very best because you want to prove that you can be better than them and thus making yourself a better trainer and growing in that sense. So today I'll be discussing my top 5 favorite rivals in the Pokemon games. I'm following 2 major rules here. The first rule is that each of these rivals will only be shown feats from the video game. That means everything they did in the anime and the manga will be completely excluded. I know that there's some rivals out there that have done some really cool things in the manga and in the anime, but I can't count that. I'm only counting the video games. Second, I will not be counting N in any of this. The reason of such is because N is a rival, yes, but he's also the leader of Team Plasma. It's sort of a weird cross. N is sort of just in a league of his own. There's no way for me to really judge him on anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it simple and take him out of the race completely. Yeah, he's a really great character, but I think he's a little bit more than just a rival, and he's more than just a team boss leader. He's a mixture of both in such a good way that he has to be placed in his own category. But with all of that said, let's get this started. Number 5. Serena from Pokemon X and Y. The thing about Serena from Pokemon X and Y is that's so cool is that Serena, as well as many of the other rivals, do have a friendly connection with you. The difference between Serena and the other rivals is that at first glance, Serena seems to be probably one of the most bland rivals. The reason I say this is because Serena is basically the opposite of whatever gender that you ended up picking. So, for example, if you're a girl, then it's not even Serena, it's Column. But the reason that I'm going to just say Serena, because my video game experience was with a boy. So, in my perspective, my rival was Serena. So, for the female audience in the comment sections, obviously this could be taken the same for Column. The thing about it is that Serena does come off as a generic character compared to the other rivals who show to be a lot more colorful, but here's the major core difference about Serena and why she sticks out the most out of all of the rivals that you have in Pokemon X and Y. The thing about Serena is all of the rivals in X and Y make their goals pretty much clear from the get-go. Well, with the exception of Shauna, who more or less is doing the journey just to travel. Serena makes her goal noticeable from the get-go too, and it's to research Mega Evolution. From our perspective, Mega Evolution is a fairly new thing, so when she wants to do research on it, we can actually feel for her pursuit of something more because it's something that we ourselves are still kind of in the not in the know-how about, or at least not in the most of the know-how about. A lot of the rivals make their goals clear, but they're also a little too obvious. They make themselves pretty one-dimensional. Also, if you look, most of your battles between Serena are a lot more challenging. Her Pokemon are a lot stronger, and it clearly shows. She's taking her goal to be a Pokemon researcher on Mega Evolution a lot more seriously than the others, which is why one of the things that makes me very sad is when you have no choice but to beat her in the game in order to advance, in order to see who gets the Mega Ring. Well, you wind up beating Serena. This unfortunately means that she doesn't get the Mega Ring. She's the one that's pursuing the studies of Mega Evolution, yet you're the one that winds up with the prize that she needed in the end in order to help with her research. This legitimately made me feel bad as a trainer because as a trainer, my studies of Mega Evolution weren't as intense as hers. She made it an open goal in order to research Mega Evolution. Thankfully, Serena does get some justice in the post-game while she does wind up getting a Mega Ring. And she ends up with an Absol that can Mega Evolve. You can battle her a lot post-game, and that's really good. It definitely brings a nice end to her storyline and makes her a lot more important. Also, she appears in various areas in the storyline in order to help you out along with the other rivals, but Serena definitely came off as a lot more of a mature character because of that. The only reason that Serena's so low on this list is because while that is the case, in the end, Serena didn't have any major parts about her except for her whole Mega Evolution Pursuit story arc. Number 4. Blue/Green if you're from Japan. To make this video fairly simple, yes, I know his name is Green if you're from Japan, and I know in the manga his canonical name is Green as well. But how I was introduced to him was his name was Blue, or whatever messed up name you could think of calling him when you were like 5. I call him Blue because this is my video game experience, so I'm going to go off that and that alone. The thing about Blue that's so frustrating is the fact that he's frustrating. A lot of rivals nowadays in video games aren't really that pursuing to make you want to defeat them. Nothing they do makes you want to just wring their little necks. And that's the thing about Blue. The thing about Blue is that every time you did an achievement, every time you made it to a certain area in the game, every time you even make it to each of the gyms and click on the statue where you're introduced to the gym, whose name is ahead of you? Blue. Who's already made it to the area that you're going to make it to? Blue. Who's already done all the things that you were gonna do and is always 5 steps ahead of you? Blue. Even if you beat him all the time, which all the matches that you battle against him are basically required except for the first one, no matter what happens, Blue always shows to be the one ahead. Also, they made 2 of Blue's matches optional. I feel this was a really good choice in terms of Pokemon because you do have the option in order to lose. This means that Blue has something else that he can brag over you about. Even when you make it to the Pokemon League and defeat Lance, the champion, lo and behold, there's someone else you have to defeat that's made it there before you. You guessed it, it's Blue. And it makes for a very good rival challenge. Another thing I like about Blue is within the meta game is that he winds up taking Giovanni's place as the gym leader in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, as well as Heart Gold and Soul Silver respectively. This means that he's the only rival to not only be your rival, but also be a gym leader and be a champion. 3 positions that he's taken, and he's definitely grown and matured since then. This is great for him. The only problem I have with him is that he was in the first games, so there's not really much to really talk about him besides his achievements in the first 2 sets of games. Number 3. May, or Brendan if you're a female. I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, May earns the spot here because she's from my video game perspective. Now, I know what you all are thinking. Why May? Well, honestly, May almost didn't make it on this list. If we were counting her from just Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, then she definitely would have lost by a long shot. But here's the thing about May that I really liked. What they did with her in the remakes of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. When you first battle May, you battle her in a specific route while trying to capture Pokemon. This is very important. The reason this is important is because the original games, Red, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, only had you fight May for a couple of times, and the final fight was in Lily Cove City, where she didn't even fully evolve her starter Pokemon. This was a big upset. But in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they did a much better job of increasing her character. She does a lot better of a job giving you items that you may need along the journey. She does a lot better of a job meeting up with you at certain places, better cutscenes that she has with you. You feel more of a connection with May than you did in the original games. Also, to make things even better, she also shows her full support during the whole Weather Trio crisis. She has a very cinematic scene with you, but that's not even the best part about May. When you finally defeat the game, or at least the main game, and end up beating all of the Elite Four and the champion, you get to have basically a credits battle, a final battle if you will, in order to bring up the final credits. And lo and behold, it's May. May's fully mastered Mega Evolution and has a full team. You battle her in the exact same route that you first met her in, to make for a very great conclusion to a very great story. And that's not even the best part. At the end of the Delta episodes, while you guys go watch the meteors fall, you and May get to watch it together. So it's kind of like a relationship, if you will. It's getting a bit romantic, but not too romantic to the point where it's shoving itself in your face. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, why didn't Wally make this list for what they did with him in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire? He's a really good character, there's no doubt about that, and the remakes definitely made him even better. The problem with Wally, though, is that you don't meet him enough in order to make as big of a difference. He almost made it on this list, but he was just a couple of cutscenes and important modes short of being the best rival in the games. Number 2. Hue, Pokemon Black and White 2. The thing I really love about Hue is that Hue is a fine balance between making a very jerkish, douchey rival, but still making a rival that's your friend. The problem with Diamond Pearl and X and Y was that the rivals were way too damn friendly. This got a little frustrating at times, because sometimes I really want a motive in order to defeat a rival. Having a rival that's a jerk makes me mad, and me being mad is a necessity because I want to be fired up when I battle trainers. I shouldn't have to be happy or calm every time I battle a trainer. That shouldn't be the way things are. Your character may not have a personality of their own when you're playing the video games, but your personality is supposed to work through theirs. And if you're angry at a rival, that in turn makes your character angry, which gives them more dimensions. Hue was a great balance between the two. While Hue was your friend, he still had made sure that he wanted to push you even further. So there was a combination between him being a jerk at times and him being really cool. Sometimes Hue would throw himself over the ladder, sometimes he would let his anger get the best of him, and he even flat out punched a Team Plasma member because the way they treat Pokemon. In the end, Hue was a bit brash and mean at times, but he still had a heart, and he still had his heart in the right place. All of this comes together basically because of his backstory. Long time ago, and this is spoilers for those who haven't played Black and White 2, his younger sister had a Purrloin. It got kidnapped by Team Plasma, and Hue vowed that he would get stronger in order to take revenge on Team Plasma for the way they treated Pokemon. Turns out this Purrloin ended up evolving into Liepard, and because Liepard's been under the usage of Team Plasma for so long, it basically lost all control and basically can't get back to its former self. Hue comes to terms with this and feels that he needs to treat his Pokemon much better in order to make amends for the things that have happened. Hue is a really good rival, and because of this, you learn a lot from him and have some really nice emotional moments because of this. These are really great moments that rivals in general need to have in order to help them grow. Pokemon Black and White 1 and 2 have always done a good job of fleshing out a lot of the characters in it and making a very great story. This here was no exception. When Hue did battles with you, it truly felt like you had a partner on your team. Not someone who was just happy-go-lucky and would always be friendly, buddy-buddy with you, but someone who was just as serious, if not more serious, about pursuing Team Plasma and bringing justice than you were. There were even times where some of the gym leaders basically had to tell him to chill out. I really like that. There needs to be more rivals like this who have a balance between certain emotions, because there shouldn't just be one emotion into a rival. That makes things very weird and uncomfortable. And number 1, Silver. Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver. The thing about Silver that makes him so great, the thing about Silver that makes him just the best rival, is his growth as a character. When you first meet Silver, and I mean the moment you meet Silver, is behind Professor Elm's lab. He's just sort of creepishly looking in there. He's probably lurking to steal, whatever Pokemon that's good against yours conveniently. Because of this, he sees you spying on him and bam, he just straight pushes you out of the way. That's your first impression of the rival, and then ever since then, he does nothing but that. He pushes you out the way, and he's so mean. The thing about him is that he hates weak Pokemon, weak people. He just hates the theme of weak in general. Anything that he portrays as weak or sees as weak, he automatically wants to knock it out of the way. If you're not strong, then you're a waste of his time. this is a thing that he wound up going through a lot in his life. The introduction of happiness wasn't really introduced in Pokemon up until Gen 2, so we could see clearly that he treated his Pokemon with no respect whatsoever. The thing about Silver, though, is that we slowly get to see hints of him gaining his character and we get to openly reveal why he's the way he is. As you go through the journey and fight him in various trainer battles, we learn that his faith with his Pokemon is really bad. We learn this through several people, gym leaders, and Pokemon alike. However, the thing about it is we learn some backstory. Apparently he has hatred against Team Rocket. The reason he has hatred against Team Rocket is because he feels that grouping up is a sign of being weak or cowardly. But we also learn, if you play Heart Gold and Soul Silver, more about Silver's character, and we learn that Silver is the son of Giovanni, the Team Rocket boss leader from the previous game. First of all, that's really good character connection. I don't care what you say, that's just great character connection. Secondly, this explains a lot of his disdainment towards Team Rocket because Giovanni had devoted all of his time to being in Team Rocket and not enough time with his son Silver, obviously causing some parental daddy issues. The best part about all of this is that we learn that his character does get better, and the game has a subtle way of doing it, not just through the text, but also in the game. When you're approaching Mount Silver to fight Red and everything else, you get to battle against Silver, and you see that his Golbat has evolved into Crobat. That can only happen with happiness. That means that Silver obviously has started treating his Pokemon with more care, and his Pokemon have become a lot stronger. This much divulging into a character and making a character that great and showing the growth between a character from the way he started in the game to the way he finishes truly makes for a really great character, and I love that about Silver. So, what's your favorite rival? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Tyrone the God 3 out.